Welcome YouTube to Cody in the Cinema. Today I'm discussing 4 films that if you haven't seen them, you absolutely should see these. They are leaving the Criterion Channel at the end of August here. And so if you had like Friday, Saturday over this long weekend, then this would be a perfect time to check these out because they are longer films, but each one of them is worth the time. And I'm going in the order of how much I approximately enjoyed them. And the first one I wanted to mention for those of you that are looking to see Paul Thomas Anderson's filmography like I am, The Master is still on the channel. That's the film that features Philip Seymour Hoffman, Amy Adams, and Joaquin Phoenix in a terrific movie about, how do you put this one? There's just something kind of like a cult that Hoffman's character has created, and this vet ends up as a part of it, and a lot of the movie explores the eccentricities of a Phoenix character alongside of Hoffman doing his thing. And it's one of those movies that does have sort of the longer takes, and it is very reliant on the actors, and you have to have some patience with it, as you do with each of the films that I'm recommending today. But it's absolutely a must-see if you enjoy that director, along with must-sees that take a little while to get through. I really like James Caan's Thief. I believe that, obviously this is one that I owned. I watched it originally on the channel. I believe this is his best performance that I've seen. So he is someone who's trying to get out of the safe cracking business as a thief, and he gets involved with a professional outfit despite his own reservations with doing something like that. This is a tender performance from him. It's well acted. It is the kind of performance that sticks to your bones because this is such a relatable anti-hero, and it deals with working class issues, perfect for Labor Day. And a really cool, well done, technically impressive scene with the safe cracking. If nothing else, seeing it for that reason would be very good. I do think this will give you a little bit more, if you haven't seen it, insight into the value and the strengths of this actor. So definitely check out Thief. It goes on and off the channel, but it does say that it's leaving, so get a hold of that one. Another one I'm going to get a physical copy of, probably in the next Criterion sale, and I keep meaning to buy this one, and I don't know why I haven't. This is one of those movies that was a 5-star instant letterbox. You know, you go down to like log it in, and you don't even know what to say. You don't know why you love it as much as you do. Drive My Car. And the premise of this originally didn't seem overly exciting to me. I didn't know what the hype was around this movie. I just assumed it would be another strong movie here in the 2000s. But Drive My Car is a multi-layered story of this person who's directing this play, and some of that conflict involves his wife and her role in the plays and some of the actors that have been chosen. And to work with this company on this project, he has to have a driver as part of the deal with their insurance or whatever it is. And he also gets to know this driver. And the respect I have for the director, and just seeing him on, I believe he has a Criterion interview that originally got me so interested in this film. This is one of my favorite Criterion films of this decade. It does have that Ozu energy that I love so much in my films. And I would say that this particular movie, Drive My Car, despite being kind of a longer one, is probably one I would watch 3 or 4 times easily. And it is an emotionally powerful kind of movie that not only is it just sad and heartbreaking in places, but it sits with you. It stays with you long after the runtime. Very much worth your watch. And finally, my favorite of these films, and a film I've been a fan of since almost the beginning of my exploration of movies, and I own a DVD of this that's still in good enough shape. Once Upon a Time in America is on the channel, but it's leaving soon. And this film, originally when it came out, the studios had cut it and butchered it in such a way that you couldn't really appreciate the masterwork that this is. And now we have, a director's cut. I think it's closer to 4 hours. So the story's able to be told in its entirety. But this is a Robert De Niro, James Woods movie about these young men who grow up poor. They are very early on exposed to a life of crime, and there are some absolutely heartbreaking parts in the early film with these young boys growing up and just this abysmal poverty. There's a scene where a kid has to make a financial decision with a cupcake that is still bothers me to think about, because it's such a good display of how poverty actually works with children and with anyone. And it also goes through their lives as they mature as adults, and then Rob De Niro's character Noodles goes back to this situation without spoiling anything, and it makes a good use of its New York atmosphere. It's one of the premier gangster films that has ever been made. For me personally, this sits up there with The Godfather, Goodfellas. It's that good. It is a little different. It's probably too solemn and dark for many. There are some assault scenes that are quite triggering and quite difficult to wrap one's head around. There's a nastiness to the characters that I appreciate, because sometimes I think about some of the gangster pictures I've seen with actors like James Cagney, who you can feel just nothing but sympathy after a certain point. But even though you do feel sympathy for these characters, they are horrible people. And so that is interesting to me, that, you think about like Marlon Brando in The Godfather, how you can kind of almost be right beside him, rooting for him. They are awful. And I love how honest and candid this film is in its presentation. It's obviously beautiful to look at, and one of the best music scores I have ever heard anywhere from Ennio Morricone. Beautiful music. If nothing else, this is worth seeing for the music. Even if all you did was turn this video off and go listen to the soundtrack from Once Upon a Time in America, you would find that to be valuable. So I highly, highly encourage you to see this film if you haven't, and it is still on the channel. I think this is probably in my top 10 at this point, or top 20. It's just such a beautiful movie, even though it's sad and depressing and difficult to get through. So those are my recommendations as to what I've seen leaving the channel. There are other great ones on there that are leaving, and some that are coming in September. But if you have some time over the weekend and you see this video and you think you want to sit down to something that while you have the time, if you have that time off from work, you should do that, especially since some of these films really deal with labor-related issues. And I haven't talked too much about plot because I don't want to spoil that and what that is. But I hope you enjoy. Let me know what you're watching this weekend, or anything else that you could share for the channel. Thank you for all your likes, your comments. Those things help this to grow. And we'll see you next time on Cody in the Cinema.